find the cheapest possible stock. My mindset was like, worst case scenario, if this $3 stock goes to zero, I'm going to lose $3. And according to Robinhood, each trade is free. So I'm like, I don't even lose any fees. I'm literally going to lose $3 if this goes. And still, I'd be watching it like, man, this thing better not go again. With my little one share. But the thing about it, man, what I learned.
Hey, welcome back, traders. Today we're going to do a special, and it's going to be podcast with the pods. It'll be our first time having a member guest come on and share a little bit about their background and a little bit about their history inside of the group. Today we got with us Mr. Nick himself. Nick, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on and joining me on this new endeavor on YouTube and talking trading with me, man.
Absolutely, man. My pleasure. Absolutely, my pleasure. I appreciate you having me on, man.
Absolutely, man. Hey, so tell us a little bit about, or tell the viewers a little bit about your background and a little bit about your history in trading and how you came about coming to the group as well.
Yeah, man. So I started trading, I think, back in 2018. People ask me all the time how I got into it, and for whatever reason, I cannot remember. My best guess is I probably must have came across some sort of a YouTube video or something that sparked my interest, or maybe somebody asked me if I seen what a stock was doing. I don't know. Nevertheless, my very first trading account was a Robinhood account, and opened it up. Absolutely no idea what I was doing, and I just put whatever the bare minimum was to open an account. That's what I put in there to the dollar, and started trading like $3 stocks, $3 to $5 stocks. So like I remember Ford was down there at one point. Snap was somewhere in there. Um, Literally just whatever I could find that was cheap. So I would buy literally one share of whatever company it was. No technical analysis. Didn't even care about the chart. Literally just got in, and then instead of watching the chart move, I would watch my P&L move. And I just see, all right, I'm up a penny, I'm up 3 pennies, and not making any money whatsoever in real life, but I was getting a chance to see kind of how the stocks move, and really what I gleaned from it was the fact that you can make money from doing very little. You kind of pressing a button and just let the market do the rest. Obviously, there's a lot more to it. I know that now, but in the moment, that's what got me going. And so from there, eventually, I started trading $10 stocks, $20 stocks. I'd get a couple of shares, and because of PDT, I didn't want to use day trades. So basically, starting out, strategy was, my stop loss would be below the day before, and I wouldn't even have a target. My whole goal was to make it till tomorrow without hitting my stop loss. And then if I was up at all, I didn't care if it was 3 pennies, I was closing the trade, taking my profit. Eventually moved into options, very short lived, lost some money. That wasn't it. And then I moved into futures during COVID, and kind of never looked back from there. When it comes to the group, honestly, you might remember it's kind of I was on creep mode, so I was looking at a futures trader 71 video. He does his little trader bites in the morning, and he did one of those like, hey, post where you're from in the chat. You never know, there might be somebody in your area, and I think I saw you post something on there, saying Greenville, and I was like, hey, I would just go for it. Looked you up on Instagram, straight creep mode. Looked you up, found your account, and then I sent a DM. I was like, I asked my wife, I was like, "Is this weird?" She was like, "Yeah, it's weird." I said, "I don't care." I hit the button. And so we chatted for a few, and then you added me into the group, man. Kind of never looked back from there.
Yeah, man, it's kind of crazy how it all kind of unfolded with all that, and because we had just started the group, maybe I think me and Jack got together maybe 2.5, 3 months prior, and then we had when you messaged, I think we had maybe 5 members, and you made the 6th that we have currently now.
think
So
so.
it worked out, and when I saw your message and especially saw that you're local, I was like, hell yeah, we can we
Yeah,
can I
man.
can at least talk to somebody local and give my wife's ear a break.
Yeah, man. It's funny that you should mention that. I think, well, I mean, you would know anybody that's been trading for a while knows it's kind of a it's a lonely world out there, man. There's so many people that have absolutely
Yeah.
no idea what you're talking about. You're talking to your wife or something, you're all excited about it, and she's like, "Oh, okay, cool." And so, man, it's just to find somebody that speaks the same lingo, kind of same goals and aspirations. It's breath of fresh air, I guess.
Absolutely. Now, before joining the group, were you facing any current, I know you said when you first started, you kind of were just, buying and randomly, hoping that the stock would move up and things like that. But as you
Uh,
progressed with your trading and before joining the group, what were your current struggles, or if you had any current struggles, what were they?
yeah, man. So, as you probably know, again from trading, man, you kind of find out a lot about yourself along the way. And so just to kind of take it back to when I started with the Robinhood thing, buying the cheapest possible stock, my mindset was like, worst case scenario, if this $3 stock goes to zero, I'm gonna lose $3. And according to Robinhood, each trade is free. So I'm like, I don't even lose any fees. I'm literally gonna lose $3 if this goes. And
Yeah.
and still I'd be watching it like, man, this thing better not go against with my little one. But the thing about it, man, what I learned early on and didn't really pay attention to it until years later is that I'm really kind of risk averse. And so I really don't like losing money. I guess again as you trade for a while you kind of start to connect dots, and I think just I guess my past or childhood or whatever it is to me, man, I come from a place where $20 was a lot of money. And so that kind of translated into my trading, and once I kind of started or stopped fighting that, I realized I needed to switch my strategy up to kind of fit my mentality or whatever my issues are, more so than trying to fix the issue so much. And so I say all that to say, whenever I got into the group where I was, is I would do really really good. I'd be really really consistent with small size. But every time I try to size up a little bit, man, I just lose my entire mind and it totally miss. So absolutely my biggest thing.
So your issue currently would be it's not really you got your own setups, you got your own probability trades, your own edge. But you discovered as you would size up, you would get more emotional about that risk that you're putting on, right?
100,
Yeah,
100%.
so but that's crazy because we all kind of go through these stages with our trading, and we kind of go through where we're first we're trying to figure out a method, and we could go through that cycle. We could have a boom bust cycle and
So,
go through searching for the next best method like 3 or 4 times before we make that, in my opinion, step number two, and that is being finding the consistency in yourself, and then from there is finding the consistency in sizing up, and
yeah,
that's a
yeah,
good spot where you're at least at, you're trying to improve is, when you get to that stage where you can add some serious size,
right.
you're treating it the same way as you were before doing that. So, at
Yep,
least you're, everybody's journey is different. At least you're at that stage of, working on um, adding size without getting too emotional, and that's going to be that's something that's going to be forever working on, because as you grow you're going to continuously grow your size as well too. Was there anything that what made you, I guess, reach out to be to me, or reach out to want to be part of a group?
yeah, man. So, so again, that goes back to just how lonely it can be trading. And only thing I could really compare it to, is being in the military. I did two tours to Iraq, one in 2010, 11, again in 16 and 17, and both times, I come back home and I'm sharing these experiences or these thoughts or like, whether it's the good, the bad, or the indifferent of just like this is how it is over there. This is how it was over there. This is what you do. This is how you do. You know, this makes me feel this way, and that's because of that, or whatever. Point is, people's eyes would glaze over. They would have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, whatsoever. They have nothing to compare it to. They cannot relate. They never been in those situations. And so eventually it just came to where it's like, well, I might as well just shut up, man, because the more I talk, the crazier I sound. And so everybody side eyeing me. So I just stopped talking about employment. And then, the trading kind of the same thing, man. It's just like I'll be talking to somebody, especially early on. I have my little one or two lots of a $3 stock or one or two shares of a $3 stock. And I'd be like, man, listen, I had $3 in here earlier. Now I got 307, man. I made seven cent today. They'd be like, okay. you know. And so eventually I was like, you know what, man, they don't see it, they don't get it, man. In my mind, 7 cent could turn into $700, turn into 7,000. So I'm gonna just shut up and just figure it out on my own. And then one day I'll come back and be like, look, I told you that. So excuse my language,
You good?
but yeah, man. So the group, man, was 100% out of like, it'd be great to have somebody to talk to that's not me.
Yeah, right. So that, yeah, I mean, that's, it's crazy. You do want to have that sense of community. You want to have that camaraderie and, your background in the military and then, transitioning into trading and wanting to keep that same aspect because, trading isn't obviously the military, but it is a high pressure, high stress type of career, and those both are definitely in the same realm of stress and high pressure situations at times, and so that
Yeah,
background probably does help you with your trading.
yeah, man, it definitely didn't hurt. Just like you said, man, just kind of, if nothing else, just the dealing with the unknown, just not knowing, what's next or what's going to happen or whatever, and still having to think your way through situations and operate. I think that absolutely translates to trading.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I've watched since kind of starting this YouTube channel, all these different things have kind of popped up for like motivation and like how to create YouTube videos and stuff like that. But like in those videos that I've come across, they always talk about like having a team
Yep.
that pushes you farther. And it's crazy because it never really when we first started out, me and Jack starting a group, we were talk to each other on Twitter or X now, and we would just interact with our trading and things like that, and we both kind of realized we I don't know what it was, but we messaged or I think Jack reached out and messaged me and was like, hey man, I see that we're both have some potential in trading and things like that. Do you want to link up? And I was honestly at the point where I was in between of where I wanted to go with my trading as well because I had such high success of just buying whatever I wanted to in 2020 and 2021, and I
Yep.
thought the market was somewhat easy, like an idiot. And
Yeah, man.
2022 comes around, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? So I was like, yeah, man, let's link up. So it never
Yeah, man.
really, it wasn't like a planned out thing where I was like, man, if I work with other, obviously I joined some groups. I think everybody joins like Discord rooms or rooms, paid services and things like that. And I just found those like slimy, or I found them like not beneficial. Everybody in there was like, you could just tell was gambling. I mean, it was terrible. All I joined a couple
Yeah,
too, man, and
man.
it was I never found any value in any of those. But actually linking up with like fellow traders that are out there, kind of like wanting to push it to
Yep.
the next level. I mean, instantly was a improvement in my trading, and mainly it's for me, my issues are more like psychology, and that kind of goes into maybe about how you handle. I think we have probably the same issues because you have a normal working 9 to 5 job, and
Yep.
when my wife goes to work, she works 24-hour shifts. I have like the kid responsibilities, so I can't trade every day, And, I think we talked about it when we were having a beer the other days, seeing the market go and we're not able to trade it.
It's like you could almost feel a physical pain, man. It's crazy how connected you get to the markets, man, and how much it affects you. Literally anything, man. The more you get into it can affect your mental and throw you off a little bit. But it's something about missing out. It's like a whole nother thing for whatever reason.
It's kind of like today, man, like the non-farm payroll. I knew it, like it was selling off, and I said, man, if this gets over 42.74,
Yep,
it's gonna be a play today. And
yep.
I had like 30 minutes in the open to trade, and I'm sitting there and I'm just like watching the price go up and down like a freaking fiend, and I'm like, okay, all right, this looks like a choppy shit show. I'm not even
Yeah.
going to like sit around. I had to go anyway. I was like, all right, well, it's going to do whatever it does. And then I saw Jack posting in our group about a trade, and I looked at it and I was like, what the fuck? And I look at the market and I'm just like, man, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, man. I think that's a big piece of that FOMO is like, everybody talks about not having FOMO, but I mean, if you trade at all, you understand that that's way easier said than done. At the end of the day, just back to me trading the little $3 stock, just knowing, and the more you trade, the more you know. Like it doesn't take a whole lot to make a whole lot, and
Right.
so anytime you're not able to be in the market during those prime hours or minutes or whatever the case may be, depending on your strategy, and it's not an illogical thought. Like if I was there and there's something going on, I could be potentially missing out on huge profits. So I mean, it's a legitimate fear. It's just all about how we deal with it. That's something we all got to work on, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a never-ending cycle. I feel like, we ourselves sometimes have to be our own psychiatrist, but luckily we at least have, members that we can vent to and kind of
Hundred
just like
percent.
throw ideas at of how we can improve on some of these things.
Yeah,
How I'm going about it right now is I'm journaling. Obviously, I'm journaling every trade and I'm tracking every trade. I'm recording all my trades, but as I'm
yep,
recording them, I'm calling out any prior emotions,
mm,
any emotions as soon as I enter, and any emotions that I have while I'm in the trade. And so what I'm doing, even if it wins or losses, I'm tracking those emotions and I'm writing them down, and I have
that's
like a
good, man.
a group of uh a group of emotions, right? So it's kind of like, I don't know if you ever heard of Jared Tendler, but it's just
Hmm. Yep,
it's just a way for me to first identify like a major emotion that I'm going to try to address. But
that's awesome.
that's currently what I'm doing. Is there
Good
anything?
stuff, man.
Who's your partner this month?
So I'm working with chips this month, man.
Okay.
So got started.
For the viewers out there, there's 6 of us in the group. Each month we have a specific partner, and we rotate every month. So you not only get like, you know, it could sometimes get a lot if there's just 6 people talking, so it kind of way condense it. But it also, you get to learn, people's people's style of trading. You get to learn a different perspective, and from there they can offer their perspective, not necessarily the way they trade, because we all have our own process and our own way of trading, but kind of
Right.
be there to listen out and kind of give you some psychiatrist help at times.
Yeah, man. I think that's one of the things that's been huge for me is like I tried literally one trading room. I tried one trading room and it wasn't basically it was one of those things where there's a guru or whatever and everybody's trying to follow that person's strategy. But the thing is at the end of the day everybody's got their own thing. So, what's my thing might not be your thing. And
Yep.
so for that reason your strategy might not work for me. Like
Hmm.
and then obviously within every strategy there's different variations of how to run that strategy. But point being, in this group nobody's nobody's trying to copy each other. Nobody has like we're all following some guru or something like that. Is everybody has their own trading style, their own trading strategy, their own, whether you're trading futures or stocks or options or whatever it is, everybody's doing their own thing. I think I think at a point, man, once you've been trading for any period of time, like you get the technicals, like you kind of get how stocks move. So after that, it's all mental. So it's figuring out like what how much time do I have to trade, like because that's going to affect what time frame you use or whether or not you're using tick charts or am I a nervous person or am I a patient person? That's going to change like what tick size you use or what time frame you're using and just kind of figuring out your own self. So in this group, with us not all following the same strategy, there's so much room for you to work your strategy, but also incorporate like, oh, well, this guy's doing this thing that I could implement into my strategy in my way. And just having those conversations has been hugely beneficial for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the coolest thing is, when we did finally come into like the group setting, and then once everything got settled out, was that we had 6 individuals in the room, and all 6 trade totally different,
Yep.
totally different time frames,
Yep.
and it kind of it kind of just shows you, everybody has their own edge and things like that, and how kind of the market dynamics work. Because
Yep.
you have somebody like me who's trading on maybe a 30-second chart, and then we have somebody that's like Ty who's trading like he's entering his trades on a 30-minute, but primarily
Right.
using higher time frames for his analysis. For the viewers out there, how do you go about looking at the market, and what is your main time frames for trading, and what you're looking
Yeah,
for?
man. So, so it's kind of interesting that you mentioned the piece about kind of figuring out the different dynamics and the different people in the market. And to answer your question, that's kind of how I think about the market is who is in the market, like who's buying right now, who's selling right now. Like for instance, I'm trading today, and my ultimate target, I'm thinking on the one hand, I'm thinking, man, this looks kind of extended. Like I should go ahead and kill it. But on the other hand, I'm thinking, well, I used to be a swing trader, and that was my main thing was like these 1 or 2 day swings. And so if I was swing trading, this is exactly where I'd be looking to buy it. And so if that's the case, then that's a reasonable place for me to sell at as a day trader because I'm looking to sell to those people who are, they're going to be swing trade. And
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm also thinking I want to be selling to the guys that have been chasing. And I'm also selling with the guys who are closing up their trade, starting out their Friday or their weekend. So like that's how I think about the market is who's in the market, what are they thinking, and why are they doing what they're doing. Um, so that's another piece again with the group that's kind of beneficial to me because again we're all trading something different. But I'm
Yeah.
thinking well, I'm probably selling to Jack right now, or you know what I mean? It is, people always say like I want to be selling to somebody who's dumber than me, but I don't look at it like that necessarily. I'm just thinking there are
No,
different people buying and selling for different reasons. So I'm just thinking
yep.
which group am I buying or selling to right now?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's that concept of smart money, dumb money, sometimes
Yeah,
gets carried away or mistaken for for that,
absolutely,
because time frame is important. just
absolutely, man.
just because I'm selling at 10 points in the range of the day, somebody long term might find that area to be a value area for them to either short or to go long. So
100%, man. It's all about expectation. I mean, at the end of the day, like if I'm trying to get my little 4 point scalp off, like I might look at somebody and be like, "Well, this is a dumb place for you to buy. Like it's about to turn." But if somebody else has like a 50 or 150 point stop because they're shooting for 500 points or something,
yeah.
then they don't care.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're not
Yeah.
being dumb. They're probably way smarter than me.
Right.
So,
Exactly. Yeah. Those are those very long term macro analysis type
yep.
trades. Nick, if you can, when did you join the group?
I believe it was. I want to say it was right at the end of last year. It might have been like the last day of last year. It was either December 30th or December 31st,
Okay,
2022.
okay. Me and Ty were talking the other day. His anniversary was actually yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Okay. Yeah.
I gotta look
Uh,
at mine. I think mine is December 30th, 22, if I'm
okay.
not mistaken.
Well, as we're kind of nearing, this last quarter of the year, what are you looking for as far as, your trading moving into 2024? What are some of your goals that you're kind of, you obviously 2023 hasn't ended, you still might have some
Right.
goals left on the table, but, if you can, for moving into 2024, what do you think you'd be looking for as far as goals into that year?
Yeah, man. So I I basically restarted like I started from scratch. Like I had going into the end of 22. Obviously, that was the first year for a lot of us that we saw like a bear market in any real way. Um, so I guess my thoughts coming into 23 was like I want to break everything down to the bare bone. I started out with one lot and shooting for one target. I started out doing just one to one. Like I'm not
Hmm.
even looking for profits. I'm just looking for just getting my entries. What are the entries that work? When am I more likely to take a 4 point stop versus a 4 point target? Like just started completely over. And then I kind of implemented one thing after another, added one thing after another, to get to kind of where I'm at right now, which is, in all honesty, experiencing the most consistency that I've ever had in trading. And I think that's because I started over like I did and just broke it down one thing after another, after another, analyzing one thing after another, taking out the things that don't work, adding more of the things that do work. So where I'm at right now is I'm starting to size back up a little bit. So going into 24, my key is to keep adding size while not changing my strategy. I think that's one of the big things that all of us got to learn or had to learn or are learning is that the more you change your strategy, the more you move the goal line. I feel like if you're really going to be in the markets for any long period of time, you got to learn how to master a strategy. And then maybe you add another or another, but you got to master at least one before you move to the next. Um, so I think at this point, my strategy is sound. It works in a bull market. It works in a bear market. It works fairly decently in a sideways market. So now it's adding size without changing the strategy, which is a mental thing. I mean, the
Right.
orders are there. I use bracket orders, so the strategy is not going to change unless I change it. So where I'm at with it.
That's, I think it's just a human element inside of all of us because if somebody gave us a trading strategy and that trading strategy was guaranteed 80% winner and a 3 to 1 risk to reward ratio, I honestly would believe that if somebody gave us all six in the group that strategy and we look back at our P&Ls in 6 months, you would think, everybody would be kind of
Yeah.
similar. I guarantee you, not it might there might even be some of us that might not even be profitable because
Yep.
it's not ours. It's not, and we might
100%.
get bored with it, or we might, tinker with it. Well, maybe I can get more, or things like that. And I think that's just
100%.
a human element that we all have, and it just
Yep.
takes no matter. And I think that could be even for like the best traders out there. Some of them might even like have a problem with trading somebody else's style to the
100%.
T. I guess you could look at it kind of like that turtle traders experiment, but they
Yep.
stuck with a method and they stuck to the process and obviously had success with that. But I think that's all we have to do. Not all we have to do, but we all have to go through that journey ourselves with our finding our own process.
Yep.
And then once you found that, instead of, if you have a down draw or a drawdown, you're not thinking, oh, I need to look for the next best thing. You're
Yep.
just maybe it's always going to be a fine tuning process.
Things I've figured out, man, is like first of all, I'm not a numbers guy. Even though I call myself Nick Numbers, like I'm not good at math at all. Like I can tell you fairly, with decent consistency, I can tell you where a market's going to go or where it's going to turn. But I'm not a math guy. So I think for me, a big piece was everybody says you got to have your data, you got to have your stats, you got to have all this, that, and the other. And to a degree, that's true. Um, but for me, that's just never been my comfort zone. Like I need trial and error. It's just everything is trial and error for me. And then I can kind of glean from that how it's going. So I don't know, man. I'm really looking forward to 24 though. I think some good things in store a little bit.
All right, Nick. Well, I appreciate you sticking around, talking stocks and futures with me, man, and talking about being my psychiatrist at times. But
Absolutely.
man, I'm gonna have you on hopefully a couple times more this year before we hit 2024. Love to have you on and maybe go over end of the year session review and kind of just look back on that and I think that'll be your 1 year anniversary with the group too, right?
Yeah, man. I think December 30th will be a year with the group. So I'll be looking forward to it. Anytime you want to do it, feel free to give me a call, man. It's like a little therapy session or something like that.
We're definitely going to get a another drinking session on the books though before we do
Man, let's
that.
do it, man. Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you sticking around and hanging out, man. We'll catch you on the
Thanks
next
again
video.
for having me, man. Any way I can help, holler at me.
Any if any traders want to reach out or have any questions to Nick, I got his email address right under there, Mr. Nick Numbers. So we have
Yeah,
that out
man.
there for you. Again, thanks again. See you guys on the next video.